Greetings. In this video we are going to review the ultimate book on futurism, or at least the most famous one. The Singularity is Near by Ray Kurzweil. I purchased this when it first came out in 2005 from Borders bookstore, which of course itself has been disrupted and dematerialized in the age of e-commerce. That is relevant when speaking about buying a book on futurism. And this is a successor to his previous book, written 6 years prior in 1999, The Age of Spiritual Machines, which I've also reviewed on this channel, as you can see in this video up here in the upper right hand corner. The Age of Spiritual Machines was where Ray Kurzweil introduced his primary ideas. The Singularity is Near is merely an expansion and refinement of those ideas, as well as a version 2 of a lot of his key findings, as well as not making mistakes that got him criticized heavily in The Age of Spiritual Machines, such as making predictions for specific years in the near future. He doesn't do that over here because of all the flack that he got from doing that before. Now, this book is very famous because it popularized the notion of a technological singularity. This is not the first time a technological singularity was mentioned, and the first person to mention it was not even Ray Kurzweil. Werner Vinge was mentioning something of a quasi-singularity in 1993, I think it was, but his definition of a singularity was different because he thought it would happen between 2005 and 2030 or something like that. That clearly was far, far too soon in the case of Vinge's prediction. Ray Kurzweil has been consistent in believing that a technological singularity happens in 2045. Now, part of the reason for that is before he turns 100. He would turn 100 in 2048. And those who know a lot about Ray Kurzweil are aware that for a long time he was taking an extreme health regimen of longevity, 250 pills a day or something like that, in an attempt to reprogram his biochemistry. Now, he's still alive at age 75. However, this is something that I believe is one of the things he's wrong about, which I'll talk about in this video. Now, this book is huge inside. It's 652 pages. It is very thick. It's effectively 2 books in one. So if you purchase it, which you should, you're actually getting 2 books in one. And Ray Kurzweil in this book really refines his concept of what a technological singularity is. He provides many, many charts of exponential progress, not just in computer processing power, but in storage, in energy efficiency, in internet bandwidth, and so forth. So he's making a case for pervasive accelerating change. There's also a large section in this book where he addresses many types of criticisms of the accelerating rate of change and of the singularity. Each subchapter has a title such as the criticism from theism, the criticism from holism, and all kinds of other places where you didn't even know people were criticizing a technological singularity. He also includes this all-important chart, which I have cited many times on this channel as well, about how completely independent disciplines of study all demonstrate an accelerating rate of change, even if it's not intentional, whether it's an encyclopedia, a historian, an astronomer, an economist, a paleontologist, etc. And this is very, very solid proof of how the accelerating rate of change is in fact something that predates humanity by a lot, by billions of years, and is extremely durable. It cannot be broken just because Moore's law is saturating and so forth. Now, among the predictions in which he is relatively correct was the saturation of Moore's law. He said it would begin to flatten by 2018, and to say that from 2005 was pretty accurate. But then he also talks about new types of computing that could succeed Moore's law and accelerate the rate of computational change even faster. And he speaks about DNA computing, quantum computing, and so forth. Another good thing about this book is that he speaks about the search for extraterrestrial intelligence and even calculates in a chart how long it would take to search most of the galaxy for extraterrestrial life. And he, like me, believes that there's a good chance we are the most advanced civilization in our own galaxy because the speed at which we can search, the rate at which we can search for extraterrestrial intelligence in our own galaxy is itself rising exponentially because everything that comes through a telescope is data, and then computation can process data faster and faster. What we will discover between 2020 and 2030, 10 years, will be more than everything humanity discovered in all the thousands of years before 2020. Additionally, what we can search for between 2030 and 2040 will be more than everything humanity discovered before 2030. And I have put forth a very specific prediction that if we don't find evidence of extraterrestrial life by 2030, we have to at least begin to believe that we might be the most advanced, because it would be harder and harder for any advanced society to remain undetected. And Ray Kurzweil says a similar thing in this book over here. He says we might be alone in the entire universe. I'm just saying that we might be the first in the entire galaxy. There might be many civilizations less advanced than us, but it's harder and harder for there to be something more advanced than us because of the accelerating rate of change and the finite size of the galaxy. And I have many, many videos on this channel about that. Now, one of the things that Ray Kurzweil is notably wrong about, and I've mentioned this in reviews of other books he has written, is his belief that the entire process of human aging can be reverse engineered, hacked, and outright reversed, meaning that not only can your aging stop, but actually go in reverse. Now, I have for almost 20 years been a vocal critic of that belief, because these longevity community people have a fair amount of emotion in what they do. They don't want to die, they want to be immortal themselves, and therefore they believe this is a hackable problem within science. And sure, many good innovations may come out of their work, such as cures for cancer or things that slow down the progression of certain cancers and so forth. But I've been very consistent about saying that human immortality is not something that is technologically achievable in the foreseeable future, because it is not resonant with the first principles of technology and even economics. Human immortality is not a necessary condition of technological progress. Only a small percentage of humans are truly working on technological progress. And human immortality is not a condition for that for many, many reasons. Consider that human life expectancy has not risen at all over the course of the 21st century in advanced economies like the United States. Ray Kurzweil, in The Age of Spiritual Machines, made a prediction that by 2029 human life expectancy would be 120. 120. That's 40 years more than 80. Nothing of the sort has happened. Life expectancy in the United States is exactly the same as it was at the beginning of the 21st century, which means this longevity community has not only had their predictions be wrong, but not even 10% of their predictions are correct. And John Smart says a similar thing about how human aging is a natural process. And you can see my 2-hour discussion with John Smart in this video up here, where he explains his reasoning. So he and I both came to this conclusion independently, because I've written articles about this long before I ever met John Smart or Ray Kurzweil. But other than that, Ray Kurzweil is right about a lot of things, and best of all, he gets people to think about the accelerating rate of change. Now, he has another book coming out that is a sequel to this called The Singularity is Nearer. The problem with that book is that it seems to be a year away and has been that way for 6 years. I've heard about that book in 2018, and it was supposedly coming out in 2019 at that time. But now in 2024, I see publication dates for summer of 2024. I don't know if he will meet that deadline or not, because this book, for someone who writes about the singularity, it's taking him a long time to complete his sequel book, 6 years. But when that book comes out, we will do a review of that as well. And eventually, if this channel gets to enough subscribers, I will invite Ray Kurzweil on for a 2-hour dialogue, just like I have done with other futurists on this channel. And that will certainly be a great thing to watch. But in the meantime, if you don't have a copy of The Singularity is Near, I recommend it. It is one of the most famous books on futurism, and even if some of his predictions were premature, overall his conceptual basis is accurate in a lot of areas, and learning about the accelerating rate of change is essential, and this is one of the primary sources through which to do that. Now, if you like this type of content, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, and thank you very much for watching. Technological singularity. Singularity, Elon Musk, Tesla, inflation, Ray Kurzweil, Federal Reserve, inflation, hyperinflation, artificial intelligence, AI, Elon Musk, Tesla, Ray Kurzweil, technological singularity, singularity, universal basic income, technological disruption.